Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed Eckhard Krausen. First of all, thank you to take us as IMU for your interview, for your different work that you do as a photographer. That we can do in the first step, we can begin about introduce yourself in the beginning. And if you are ready, that we can continue about speak of your work and different things that you do. Ahmed Krausen, born in Germany in a Protest family. He's a professional photographer based in Copenhagen. His conversion to Islam was in 1992 at the age of 37. And this is the fruit of long spiritual journey he went through during his travel to many parts of the world. It's in this time he spent in Egypt and Sudan that moved him the most emotionally. Then he attends a one-year course at the Copenhagen Photo School, enabling him to achieve the level of professionalism he wanted to attain. He now works for small and large publisher, newspaper, magazine, etc., principally in Europe, but also in America and Asia. Since 1997, he has been working on the Islam in Europe project, which has been concretized by the publication of a book called Mosques, Islamic Architecture in Europe, which resulted from a Polish-German collaboration. And that's it. In this year-long work aims to show the diversity of Islamic expression and how Islam interpreted in the physical space by European Muslims. Thank you again, Ahmed Krausen, to take the time to take the interview. I don't know if you want to add additional thing for your biography, something that we we don't have not saying about it.
Yeah, well, Assalamu alaikum, and many thanks for inviting me for this interview. And yeah, I would like to speak a little bit about my my life, you know, because of course I'm born in Germany, but I'm born in the former Ruhr area with a lot of smog and factories, and I was also working in a coal mine under the ground for 900 meters down, and so I met a lot of my colleagues in that time, and there was foreigner, you call it in German Gastarbeiter, and so first there was from former Yugoslavia, from Italy, from Vietnam, and at least also from Turkey. And I had to tell you that I never listened to some wrong words in this, but the world under the ground is different from up, I think. The colleagues are very, very close together there because the work is dangerous. But I have seen this Gastarbeiter was working hard, much harder than Germans, and in the most dirty places there, you know. And these people was invited not as human being, but as worker. And Max Frisch, he said, we have called worker and we became human beings. So, and that was for many Germans surprising. So I was growing up with this multicultural society, and I am growing up in a positive way. So racism has never existed in my world, never. I was growing up, as you told, in a Protestant family, and I was very engaged in the Catholic Church. Also, the Catholic Church was more interesting for me than the Protestant Church. Besides that, I had one Turkish friend, one of this Gastarbeiter, and he invited me at home, and it was so like to take rest, you know, by him. He didn't ask, he didn't make question, he didn't talk very much. He gave me chai, give me a smile, and it was just to get rest in this lot of mess around me. That was my first experience with Turkish people. You know, and I don't know if he was very religious or not, but because he was so quiet, so peaceful, that was my first experience with Turkish people. Well, then I moved out to Hamburg, and I made a civil service. I never went to the military, and after that, 1978, I came to Denmark. I was very angry about Germany. Very I didn't like anymore. So I found my life here in Denmark, and the pyramid in Denmark is more flat than in Germany. It's right, you know. So it was more easy for me to live here. It was more transparent, you know. So I couldn't develop my life from the beginning, out from all my bad experience I had in Germany and from my family and so on. So I started to travel 1978, and just today, 41 years ago, I was in Indonesia. 41 years ago, and I can tell you, it is like I came back some days ago. Okay, this traveling had a lot of impression of me. Doesn't matter. It was Indonesia, it was East Africa, it was Pakistan or Malaysia, or later Turkey and Morocco and so on. All this travel gave me some impressions, and that have formed my life, you know. So today, I tell you, I don't feel German. I don't feel multicultural person with a lot of identities, because I found so many things around the world, positive and negative things. And the positive I took with me at home. The negative I kept, I didn't. So, and all this small puzzle playing, you know, it made me to a Muslim in the end. I didn't know this one. It was not my idea to become Muslim. Also, my way to become Muslim was never been, no, I'm Muslim, I know, because arguments are like this and this and that is right. No, it was growing in myself. And I have to tell you, that was so much important for me that I still today, I don't have very much contact to the Muslim society, you know, because I don't want to people push me in any right place, you know, and that is, it make me alone. And what can you do if you're alone? You take a camera and photograph. And that is you're doing alone. You can't do in a group, you know. And so I was also growing because I was photographing on my traveling in Africa and so on. I have still the photos from that time. And this photo tell me a story of my life, of what I was thinking, what I'm so often, what I have listened to people and so on. And so the photography is a part of myself, you know. And 20 years ago, I started to, when I became Muslim, then I said to myself, now I'm Muslim, but I'm Muslim on my way. You know, I don't want to be Turkish, I don't want to be Pakistani and so on. I want, with my European, German, Danish, or what else background, I want to be Muslim in this way. And, you know, the problem is the Muslims are divided, you know, they're so much divided, and that is actually terrible, you know, but it is a reality. You have divided in nationalities, you have divided in different religious directions and so on. So I have to keep myself out of this one. And that the photography helped me, because I can, with photography, I can hide myself behind the camera because I'm only photographer. The people ask me maybe sometimes, are you from which newspaper you are? You are from, no, I'm not your newspaper. I'm only photographing because I like it. Okay. So that is, I'm still anonymous. Nobody asks me something, and I don't have to have my idea to anything, to anybody. And in this way, I travel around Europe to find out what is Islam in Europe. I know Islam in Egypt, I know in Turkey, I know in Pakistan, and what about in Europe? And I could never accept, Muslims imported her own problems here to Europe, you know. And also, of course, uh, everybody has this background like me, you know, but I have to realize the reality where I'm living, you know, and that is at the moment in Denmark or in Europe. So so I photographed the different way to be Muslim in Europe, and more than 20 years. And that I got a collection for exhibitions and also for publishing books and so on. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm not ready. I have published one book. This is, can you see this one? And you have it. Maybe you can also tell me a little bit, give me some feedback from this book. And I'm working on a second book now. This will be published in the springtime next year. And yes, with some new subjects about the Muslim life, the Muslim everyday life in Europe. Also, here in the next book, it is not about architecture, it is about the practical life of Muslims. And there will be some, I will talk about the new Imam education in Osnabrück in Germany, because I think that is the right way to educate imams in a European context. And I think this is a beginning. It can be possible, not everything is in the best, but it is a beginning, and we should to build up this and develop this one, you know. Very interesting. So this is one subject in my next book, inshallah. Well,
Thank you for all the things that you have said. Like I'm not just like you're a photographer. I'm not on this field. Like we can ask some question about this. One of the question can be like which camera or model that you're using. What did you choose this model? Like which one do you use when you photograph or take some photos?
Oh, I have actually 3 cameras. Everything was bought in the many of years, you know. Also, photo cameras are very expensive if you using professional equipment. It costs a lot of money, you know. And a camera can be expensive, like a Mercedes-Benz sometimes, you know, something like that. So mostly I'm working with my Canon 5D, and I have a little camera from Panasonic also. This is one, but I have this Canon. I have different lenses. I have a tilt shift lens to photograph minarets. You know, I have one objective lens, 150 millimeter, and I have a 50 millimeter, and I have a 24 millimeter lens. So this is my then I'm only shooting with RAW, and then I have Capture One, and I have Photoshop, where I edit my pictures.
And actually, do you have a current project that you are working? Like you speak about the old book that you own, and you have some new project from new book. But actually, have you a current project that you are working for?
Also I don't have a new. I have still this project, and this project is actually not ready. And the Corona pandemic also made some problems for me, because I wanted to travel to different countries. I have still a list. I would like to visit Kazan. I would like to visit Lisbon, and I I also want to go to Bosnia. I have never been there. The three places, but the last 2 years I had a problem. We have a problem with pandemic, and this is difficult. So I have to wait for that one. But I hope now in the next springtime I will take some travels. What I can do, more in a spontaneous way. But I'm not really finished, because I now I'm working on a second book. It's come out in the next spring, and I have appointment with my Polish publisher that we also want to make in the future part 3 of the book. So this project never ending. Then I would like to visit New York. There is a little Tatar mosque in Manhattan. That is amazing, to have. You have, I think, 3 big Tatars societies, one in Helsinki, one in London, and one in New York. And that I would like to visit all, because the Tatars are my, how you call it, my big love. Also I find the identity as Muslim by the Tatars, because they're living there for hundreds of years. They're still there, and they have kept their identity. Even there was the First War, the Second War, Stalinism, the Cold War, and now the free world, and so on. So they're growing now. In Lithuania and in Belgium.
And another question that would like to know, it's like, what do you like to photograph the most? And do you have particular time or in the day when you like to photograph?
I'm photographing, the best time to photograph is early in the morning or later in the afternoon, evening. If the sun is up, the midday, this time is not very good, because the colors are not strong, and the light are not. If you have the sun in the morning or in the evening, you have shadows. You can work with shadows that give you an impression of the photo, that makes the photo more exciting. If you have stronger colors and so on. And that is, sometimes I can stay at the mosque or the whole day, or maybe I come the next day back in the morning or afternoon, because maybe the light is better. And of course, I also would like to meet people. I want to photograph some Muslims praying in the mosque. They make maybe some talk about something and so on. And sometimes I get an invitation at home, and then I make photos from the home where they're living and so on. That is now, as the first book, it was only architecture about mosques, but now I will show some pictures about the private life of the everyday life of the Muslims from Italy, from France, from anywhere, Scandinavia, and so on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And do you consider that your photography journey and your spiritual journey to Islam are interconnected?
They are very strong connected, because first of all, as Muslim, I have some the same, but I have a little bit more rules to respect. I'm not a photographer for how you call it, for newspaper and so on. If I make photo, I ask the people, I ask the imam of the mosque if he is allowed to make some photos in the mosque. So every time I make some appointments with the people, and every time I tell them what I'm using the picture for. That can be for exhibition, it can be for the book, but I also have made many exhibitions around Europe and outside of Europe, with portraits of Muslims and with mosque architecture and so on. Also, I'm not a photographer for Bild-Zeitung or something like that, so I have to stand behind the wall and looking what they're doing now and make a photo in the private room. That I don't do. This is, for example. Yeah.
One of the questions that we have, it's like, what did you know about Islam before converting?
My problem is I don't reading very much because I don't understand words. I understand to listening, and I understand to observe. And I can go to some lectures of some people at a university or something there, and I can learn from that. And after this lecture, I go home and find maybe some new books or something about more if one topic has my interest for that, So I don't sit at home and read a book, but I listening to any subjects, topics, and then I go home and try to, this one is interesting for me, that I want to like to know more about this one. And then I find the book, and it can be in English, in German, in Danish, I don't understand Arabic.
And I have also a question. It's like, what are some common points you like the most between Christianism, Protestantism, and Islam?
I can, there are some theological differences between Islam and Christianity, and I don't want to talk about so much about this one. You'll find some Muslims, they will explain the Christian, you are wrong, and some Christian explain the Muslims, you are wrong, and this game, this is a game I never want to do, because I believe what I think is right, and the Christian believe what he or she think it is right, and so I don't like this kind of discussions, but if the Christian go in, also when my mother came to Copenhagen to visit me, the first one, she had to go to the German-speaking Protestantic church here in Copenhagen. You find this one, you find a German-speaking church here. I brought her to this church, and I was also inside with the church and when listening to this one. But I have done it because it was my mother, so to respect my mother, but normally I don't go in a church, so I think I have common or with the Christian, they have one God, like my Allah God is the same. And all these differences about Jesus, about all the things that don't have importance for me. Because I believe what I think is right, and Christians have to think to believe what is right. And I don't want to fight, I think there are many differences between Muslims too. Okay, there are sometimes much more difference between Muslims than between Muslims and Christian, and that we unfortunately forget this one. That you find attacks of mosques in Pakistan and so on. What is this for what? In Afghanistan, a bomb in a mosque, on Friday prayer and so on, from Sunni, Shia, and you know all this story about this one. And I don't want to be involved in this one. You know, I tell you one, in my book here, in this book, the cover picture is a Shia mosque. Yes, and one community in Copenhagen, Muslim community in Copenhagen, didn't want to sell, to buy my book because there was a Shia mosque on the cover. I was surprised and I was shocked because I forgot this problem, you know, and I had to realize that there's still a problem between this one because I'm not interested in this one. I was so focused on my book to put my pictures on it, to put the text in and so on, that I forgot there is a problem. That Muslims have a problem, as some Muslims have a problem with it. I'm sorry for that, and that I want to keep myself outside, really. So I have friends, Shia friends, I have Sufi friends, I have Salafi friends, and I'm listening to them, and then I go home and make my own idea about this one, and that I keep for myself, and nobody have to know this one, and I don't need to explain this what I feel, because it is between me and my creator, and khalas, alhamdulillah.
Another question that I would like to say, would you say that a Muslim can peacefully live in his religion in Denmark and in Europe as a whole?
Sure, as I can do. I can live, I'm Muslim, I'm living peaceful, and but it also have to build bridges. And if you live in Denmark or in Germany, you have to accept there are some rules that you can't change any time, you know. And in some countries you have some strong rules. In France, for example, you have in Denmark also some strong rules. You know, they have forbidden the burqa here some years ago, and for women. And also, what is my opinion? You have two groups in Denmark. One part of Muslims, they want to have burqa, and then you have the Nazis, they don't want, you know. I don't like both sides, you know. And so I'm a little bit outside of all these one extremes, you know, because one thing I never want to be extreme in any way. And that is also not Islamic, you know. The Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam always liked the balance between this one, you know. And I forgot, I was growing up in Germany in the 70s. I have seen the extremism about Baader-Meinhof and so on, terrorism, you know. So I know what is the problem of this one. And today I can see some Muslims do the same, like this one, you know. And I will never accept this one. No.
I have three last questions, like I can to ask her. The second one, the next one, it's like, do you think that Muslims have a responsibility in the rise of terrorism in Europe? What do you think?
They have a responsibility, I think. Also in this way, they have to find out these people, to try to find out, you know. And also, it is wrong to say the Muslims are terrorists, because I know many Muslims, they are not terrorists, you know, but you have this extremism in our societies, you know. And so that is what we have to take care of about this one. There's some young Muslims, they break out of everything, and we have to take them back in any way, you know. And sometimes also to help the police with this one, if it is necessary, So I don't want to say the Muslims have a general responsibility for this one, but I know a mosque in Copenhagen where these people come, There are these places. I know this one, and this is dangerous, and you have this idea, and you have sometimes these people, they're trying to catch these young people, So that make me frightened, because I know the newspaper only writing about Islam is wrong, Islam only terrorism, but this is also wrong, But we have also to take care of our society, of our people, and so on. Yeah.
Do you think Muslims should take action against the societal problems they're facing? What do you think the Muslim community should do fight against discrimination and religious extremism like radicalization?
I wish the Muslim could be more active, my way is to show Islam in a peaceful way, and to make Islam visible. And I have made exhibitions in communal places, also 3 years ago in a synagogue in Germany. So I'm also working on an exhibition in Copenhagen for next year in a church, and because I want to invite not only Muslims, I want to invite the non-Muslims to this one, to the debate. What is Islam? What is Islam actually? And that I'm missing. It is difficult to cooperate with Muslims. It's so difficult because Muslims are divided so much, in different groups and so on. That make me, I'm working now 20 years on my project. In Germany, there are 4 million Muslims, and I got not very much support for this one. Very, very small things. Why? Why? And not even in Denmark, not in England, not in Italy, not in Germany, and so on. And one little Polish foundation gave me the money for this book, first book. It was a little Polish Tatar foundation. They gave me the book to make the money for this book. Alhamdulillah, I say, okay, I don't want to, but you can see, and I was really contacting big organization in Germany, and then even not answer me, and that make a frustration. But I'm strong enough to work on myself, this one. Then the institute in Osnabrück, they helped me with exhibition, and also they came some to collect some money for exhibition and so on. Then it was working, but anyway, for 20 years I'm working on it here, and that you have always. Where are the activities of Muslims here in Denmark, in Germany? And the problem is that most of Muslims, they are focused on racism. This is right, in my book, you don't find one word about racism. Because for the first of all, I think there are other people that can talk about racism better than me. The second one is there are enough people that are talking about racism. The third one is we should also talk about other things except racism. We have to talk about the positive things. Yeah, and maybe we should build up this one. You know, the positive thing is that many young Muslims, they get higher education. Yeah, that is so positive. They get doctors, they become mathematics and so on. And we should working on this one, you know. And we have to make debates, evenings, invite the people. I'm invited for two events next year in Germany, in Berlin and Karlsruhe. So I hope now there's people starting to make this kind of things, to make a dialogue between Muslims and non-Muslims, you know. And it's only this way. It is going slowly, but it is only this way.
And to finish also the interview, the last question, it's like, as a photographer, from your perspective, like your camera, how do you see Islam as a value in Europe? Like you make some different exhibition about Islamic architecture in Europe. You also make some exhibition about mosque in Europe. And it's like, what is your perspective, or what you can say about what do you see when you look with your camera?
Well, I can see with my collection of photos, I can see for example, if we take the architecture of mosques, I can see it's still developing. You know, if I see the mosques which was built in the 60s, you know, they look like Turkish, like Pakistani mosque. You know, I visit Mannheim, and one young Turkish man, he asked him to bring me to the Turkish mosque in Mannheim, and he bring me there and said, please, here's a mosque. And he said to me, do you know how I call this mosque? I said, I don't know. He said, I call this homesick mosque. Here come all the old Turkish people because they're missing their home country. I never go there. See, he told me that, you know, I have another place, you know. So I understood in this way that this young man have another identity, you know, and the mosque architecture have also to change, you know, to come out of this, to be Turkish, to be Arabic, to be, it should be German, it should be Swedish, you know, or Danish, or what else. And in this way, you find really some really interesting projects, like Penzberg, like Cambridge, and Rome is one. Rome is very interesting. I come back to Rome. And the new mosque in Hamburg, Norderstedt. And because Norderstedt and Cambridge, they want also to respect the ecological aspect of the mosque, you know, and this is very important, you know, a green mosque, you know, Islam is green, you know, we have to talk about this one, you know, and that is what I hope I can bring in my third book about this development of the mosque, ecological and so on. And but the development is going on. You know, you can see mosques in Sweden, Stockholm, for example, is a very beautiful picture. I have the mosque on the right and the Katharina Church on the left, and you can't see even the difference between these two buildings because they are so in the same way built, you know. And maybe this architecture can help to find out more in dialogue with, you know. I'm sorry, don't be angry with me, but a Turkish mosque in Germany, why? You know, you can do it in Konya, in Istanbul, but why in Germany? You know, and Cologne, the mosque is one example. You can come out of this rule. You know, and there's a beautiful design and the mosque in Cologne. And I hope this Turkish society understands the importance of dialogue in Cologne.
Thanks so much, Ahmed Eckhard Krausen. Take your time, that we really earn your time. That's why I would like to apologize and really to thank you for all income that you made for us, for your interview. I would also wish you very good luck, and inshallah that you will find new support for your new work. Don't hesitate to ask us if we can help in different projects that you are take off. Okay, don't hesitate. We can talk. We can try to help you with different things. And I have it. I don't know if you want to add additional information or additional aspects. And if not, I just would like to say thank you again. Really, it's really, I really respect you for your work, and I was so happy to read your book, to see all the different exhibitions that you made. It was so interesting because we speak about Islam, but like I have seen a different perspective of Islam beside you when I read the book. Like when we speak about Islam, it's like on the mind, it's kind of like a new religion in Europe. But when we see that the old mosque in the European area, that we can say that it's Islam, it's not a new value, it's an oldest one, and it's a common value about when we look at the European values, like about peace, about living together and respect. And I think like you also underline a very good, important thing, like to also develop our new saying and a way of presenting Islam in another way, like you do, like an exhibition, like about a photographer. And we would like to really help you and really thank you for your work. Thank you so much.
I hope explore some ideas in the future. And yes, Islam is a very old story in Europe. It is more than 1,200 years old, you know. And I have part of this exhibition in Brussels, 2017. It was a big exhibition about from the European Union, and I don't know if you have seen, you have no, but I hope we can do something like that in the future, because you can see exhibition, at least exhibition can teach a lot without to speak, you know, and sometimes it's better to be quiet and let the things work. You know, that can exhibitions do. And after you can invite people for debates and for discussions and so on. But I think exhibitions are a very beautiful media to invite people, to bring people together, you know. This was my experience, you know, even non-Muslims and from everywhere. And an exhibition speak international language, you know, so everybody can, you know. I will finish and say, as you know, the picture can say more than 1,000 words, but opposite, a word have more than 1,000 pictures. Okay, this is important.
Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Inshallah, we will see you soon. Inshallah, with a different program. We'd like to invite you for additional program. And if you don't want to add additional thing, I'd like to thank you and take care of yourself.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Have a nice day. Thank you.